Good day everyone and welcome to the Teknoy tutorials. Kamusta na mo? Kaya pa? Kaya pa. By the way, I am Kijana Danielle Yu, a second-year college student from CMBA Department, specifically Banking and Financial Management. For today's video, our topic is all about statement of cash flows, the importance and the three sections of a cash flow statement. So please bear with me until the end as this topic is interesting and telling you how much cash you have on hand for a specific period. What is statement of cash flow? Statement of cash flow provides information about the cash receipt and cash payment of an entity during the period. It is a formal statement that classifies cash receipt, meaning inflow, and cash payment, meaning outflow into operating, investing, and financing activities. So, ang statement of cash flow ay isang report na nagpapakita ng galaw ng cash sa negosyo. Ipinapakita nito ang lahat ng pumasok at lumabas na pera sa ating negosyo. Yung pumasok, ang tawag doon ay inflow. So, pumasok talaga. At lumabas naman, ang tawag doon ay outflow, meaning lumabas yung pera, kaya outflow ang tinatawag natin. Maaaring may pumasok, meaning inflow, na pera kapag nagbayad ang customer sa service na ginawa o kapag naman may nagbayad ng utang o kaya naman ang nangutang ng business ng pera. Pwede namang may outflow kapag nagbayad ng expenses o kaya naman nagpautang at nagpa-withdraw ng pera sa may-ari. Sa pag-report ng cash inflow at cash outflow, ay i-classify naman natin kung ito ay under operating activity, investing activity, at financing activity that we'll discuss later on. Importante kasi ito upang malaman natin ang owner ng business kung saan in particular napupunta ang pera sa negosyo. Alam kasi natin, kapag cash o pera ang pinag-uusapan, ito talaga ang pinaka-liquid na asset ng ating negosyo at pinaka-prone na mawala sa kung ano pa mang kadahilanan. Mahalaga din naman na ma-manage natin na maayos ang ating pera o pera sa negosyo dahil sa lahat ng transaksyon ng ating negosyo, itong cash flow of statement or statement of cash flow rather ang ginagamit. Why do you need cash flow statement? So first, they show your liquidity. That means you know how much operating cash flow you have in case you need to use it. So you know what you can afford and what you cannot afford. So it's always our daily reminder to spend wisely. So second one, they show you changes in liability, assets, and equity in the forms of cash outflow, cash inflow, and cash being held. Lastly, they let you predict future cash flow, meaning it is true because they they use cash flow statement to create cash flow projections so you can plan for how much liquidity your business will have in the future. And that's really important for making a long-term business plan. On top of that, if you're planning to have security, I mean securing a loan or line of credit, you need up-to-date cash flow statement to apply. How the cash flow statement works with the income statement and the balance sheet. So the income statement lets you know how much you entered and left your business, while the balance sheet shows how those transactions affect different accounts like account receivable, inventory, and account payable. So you use information from your income statement and your balance sheet to create your cash flow statement. Because without income statement and balance sheet, you cannot proceed cash flow statement because some of the transactions on the income statement and balance sheet will be put in the cash flow statement. So, for the process of producing financial statement for your business goes income statement plus balance sheet equals cash flow statement. Always remember that because it will also like a guide for us to follow. Here are some example of statement of cash flow. So, statement of cash flow, NTF Goat Grooming, month of December 2020-21. As you can see, an example statement of cash flow shows the three categories of cash flow, which are cash flow from operations, cash flow from investing, and cash flow from financing. So as you can see in this in this slide, red lines or red amounts decrease cash. For instance, when we see 30,000, this one, next to increase in inventory, it means inventory increased by 30,000 on the balance sheet. We bought 30,000 worth of inventory, so our cash balance decreased by that amount. Black amount means increased cash. For example, when we see 20,000, this one, next to depreciation, this one, the black one, rather, the black one, this one, depreciation. It means that it is an expense on the income statement, but depreciation doesn't actually decrease cash. So we add it to our net income. So I hope you somehow understand the topic slowly by slowly for us to proceed with the next slide. Kaya pa? Kaya pa, of course. So this is the first category under cash flow statement, which is called cash flow from operating activities. So cash flow from operating activities is cash earned or spent in the course of regular business activity. The main way your business makes money by selling products or services. So, ito po yung example of statement of cash flow under operating activities. Kapag operating activities, iniisip ko dito para matandaan natin ay yung normal operation ng business wherein maaaring nagtitinda o nag-perform ng service at nagbayad ng mga expenses na may kinalaman sa pag-operate ng business. So as you can see, so in cash flow or cash inflow rather, receipt from sale of goods and performance of services. So meaning nag-perform ito ng mga serbisyo or service at nagbayad ng pera ang mga kliyente. Receipt from royalties rather, fees, commissions, and other revenues, mga kinitang mga pera mula sa iba pang pwedeng pagkuhanan ng mga kita sa ating mga negosyo. So in the cash outflow, payment to suppliers of goods and services. Nagbayad ito na sa supplier para sa ating merchandise. Payment to employees, nagpasweldo na empleyado. Payment to taxes, nagbayad ng buwis. Payment of interest expense, nagbayad ng interest. Payment for other operating expenses, nagbayad ng iba pang gastusin. If we base it from our example, the example of cash flow from operations are net income is the total income after expenses. This one here, net income. Since in net income, it is the total income after expenses for the month. So in depreciation, this one, 20,000, diba, meaning sa black, it increases the cash flow. So meaning it is recorded as a 20,000 expense on the incoming statement, but since no cash actually left our hands, we're adding that 20,000 back to cash on hand. So it is not decreasing, it is increasing. So in increasing in account payable, this one, diba, 10,000 pesos. Since we owe the money but haven't actually paid it, we add that amount back to the cash on hand. Increase in account receivable, this one, red, meaning it is decreasing. That's the money we've charged clients, but we haven't actually been paid yet. Even though the money we've changed is an asset, it isn't called hard cash. So we deduct that 20,000 from cash on hand. So that's the example from our cash flow from operating or operations activities. So the second category under statement of cash flow is cash flow from investing activities. It is cash earned or spent from investment your company makes, such as purchasing equipment or investing in other companies. Under cash flow from investing activities, we reverse those investments, removing the cash on hand, and they have cash value, but they aren't the same as cash, and the only asset we're interested in this context is currency. So, in provided example earlier, we will discuss this under cash flow from investing activities. So, for small businesses, cash flow from investing activities usually won't make up the majority of cash flow from your company, but it still needs to be reconciled since it affects your working capital. So, in cash inflows, receipt from sales of property and equipment kapag nagbenta ka ng machine, equipment o property ng ating negosyo. Receipt from sale of investment in debt or equity securities, nagbenta ka ng equity securities. Pag sinabing equity securities, ito yung investment mo sa ibang kumpanya. Halimbawa, may stocks ka sa mga negosyo sa isang korporasyon. Receipts from collections on note receivable. So, meaning, may nagbayad ng utang sa business at yung utang na yon ay notes receivable. Ma'am, pag accounts payable po, sa operating activities na iyon because operating activities explained operating in business. So, in cash outflows, payment to acquire property and equipment, namili ito ng equipment, machine, o iba pang property. Payment to acquire debts or equity securities, meaning namili ng equity securities, investment, at iba pang kumpanya. Payment to make loans to others generally in the form of notes receivable, nagbayad ng utang, so meaning it is note receivable. So in our example here, in our statement of cash flow in NTS Gold Grooming, purchase of equipment. So this one, the red amount here, so meaning it decreases cash. So is recorded as a new 5,000 pesos asset on our income statement. It's an asset, not cash. So with 5,000, this one, on the cash flow system, we deduct 5,000 pesos from cash on hand. So this is just an example of our cash flow from investing. So this section covers investment to your company under cash flow from investing has made by purchasing real equipment, real estate, land, or easily liquidated financial products referred to as cash equivalent. When you spend cash on an investment, that cash gets converted to an asset of equal value. So the last category under cash flow is from financing activities. This section covers revenue earned or assets spent on financing activities. When you pay off part of your loan or line of credit, money leaves your bank account. So in the provided example on our statement of cash flow from NTS Goat Grooming, in cash flow from financing, we have notes payable which amounting to 7,500. In our example, when you top your line of credit, get a loan, or bring on a new investor, you receive cash in your account. So in cash inflows, we have receipt from investment by owner, meaning nagdagdag tayo ng perang kapital ang owner ng business. Receipt from issuance of notes payable, nangutang ang negosyo, so notes payable. So in cash outflow, we have withdrawals of the owner, nag-withdraw ito, o nag-withdraw ang owner ng business ng pera. So payment to settle note payable, meaning nagbayad ng business ng notes payable. So here we have notes payable, in example from our cash flow from financing. So notes payable is recorded as a 7,000, 5,000, I mean rather 7,500 liability on the balance sheet since we received proceeds from the loan, we record it as a 7,500 increase to cash on hand. So, to further understand this topic, let's provide another example. So, let's say we're creating a cash flow statement for Greg's popsicle stand for July 2019. So, our income statement looks like this. So, what I've said earlier that we cannot proceed to, to transact cash flow statement if we don't have income statement and balance sheet. So here's the income statement. This one. So here is our balance sheet. Here, this one. In Greg's popsicle stand. This one. So after this, after you have the balance sheet and income statement, let's proceed to the cash flow statement. Because as what I've said earlier, that balance sheet, income statement equals cash flow statement, they really work together for us to proceed to the cash flow statement or making statement of cash flows. So right now, we have our cash flow statement. So this one is our cash flow statement. So remember the three rules for converting information from an income statement to a cash flow statement. Let's use them let's use them to create our cash flow statement. So these are the cash flow from operating activities, this one, the investing activities, and the financing activities. So no statement of cash flow if there is no income statement and balance sheet, okay? Our net income for the month on the income statement is 3,500. That stays the same since it's a total amount, not a specific account. So addition to cash is one. Addition to cash. Depreciation is included in expense for the month, but it didn't actually impact cash. It's one. So we add that back to cash or back on hand. So account payable increased by 5,500. Wait, let me see first this one. So that's a liability on the balance sheet, but the cash wasn't actually paid out for those expenses, so we add them back to cash as well. So decreases to cash. This one, wait. Let me see. Or this one. So account receivable by $4,000. That's an asset recorded on the balance sheet on how this statement was made. So wait for a while. So our net cash flow from operating activities add up to $5,500. So in cash flow from investing activities is one. Greg purchased $5,000 of equipment during this accounting period. So he spent $5,000 of cash on investing activities. So lastly, in cash flow from financing activities is one. Greg didn't invest any additional money in the business, so take out a new loan or make cash payment toward any existing debt during this accounting period. So there are no cash flow from financing activities. So lastly, in our cash flow or cash flow from month ending July 31, 2019 is $500. So total we have cash and the period we have $6,000. So cash flow from month ending July 31, 2019 is 500 pesos or $500. Once we crunch all the numbers, Greg started the accounting period with $5,500 in cash. After accounting for all of the additions and subtraction to cash, he has 6,000 at the end of the period. So I hope you somehow understand the provided example or example that provided. rather. To end this topic, why cash flow is very important in our field, which is banking and financial management, or in accounting, business, or in CNBA department generally, it is because cash flow statements are powerful financial reports. So long as they're used in tandem with income statement and balance sheet, see how all three financial statements work together. I hope you Teknoys who is watching in this tutorial video learned something new today. Thank you everyone for listening and watching this video. Goodbye!